What's the YouTube? Dale here from Zephyr, and today I'm bringing an update to Dark Magician Illusion. That's right, a lot of people wanted to see an update to this, and you also want to see some combos and test hands. So if you get this video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, I will bring you that test hand and combo video as well, so you can see how the two decks kind of synergize. Now it's mainly you're utilizing the Illusion engine as a one-card starter to kind of build up your board, rip one from your opponent's hand, set you up Guardian Chimera plays, and then you're relying on Magician's Souls, which you've got plenty of ways to get to in order to involve the Dark Magician aspect of the deck and push yourself further into more fusion plays. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So we're going to start off with double Dark Magician. It's a Dark Magician build, so we're going with 2 Dark Magician. You're going to follow this up with 2 Illusion of Chaos. 2 is more than enough because we are also playing 2 Preparation of Right. This is just my go-to kind of ratios for these ones. You can adapt it as you see fit, especially with Draw and Lockbird running around. You might want to go a little bit more of like 3 Illusion of Chaos and 1 Prep, but considering that until we get the Megatins for the reprint of Illusion of Chaos, you're probably going to be looking at more expensive versions of trying to get to Illusion of Chaos than you are being able to get to Preparation of Rights. So if you're on a budget, you can go for 3 Preparation and 1 Illusion of Chaos. I would then advise you putting Saravis into the deck because it is a level 7 Ritual Dragon that can be searched off of Preparation and can protect you from targeted effects. The most important card for the Dark Magician element is of course going to be triple Magician's Souls, and then the second one is then going to be Timaeus United Dragon. Now the reason Timaeus is so important and the reason Magician's Souls is so important is Souls is your draw con. This can be really good in order to kind of put a Guardian Chimera or Chimera Fusion to the graveyard for a free draw, but it could also get rid of loads of other cards, so spare Preparation of Rights, or it's going to be able to be summoning out Dark Magician. The reason Timaeus is so good is because you get to sack off a card that lists Dark Magician in its text from the hand or field to summon it down, and then you can use its effect to fusion summon. So as long as you've got Dark Magician on the board, you can fuse Timaeus with that with Dark Magician to make your Dragoon. So being able to open up something like Souls and a route to Timaeus, or between Souls, Timaeus and Illusion of Chaos, and then your 1-card Chimera play, what you're ending your board on is you're ripping 1 card from your opponent's hand, you're setting yourself up for an even stronger boss monster during your opponent's turn, whether that be Dracus Depelia, or whether that be going into the Chimera, the Illusion Beast. It's entirely up to you. You can then also add a Dragoon to that end board, and of course you'll also be able to have your graveyard protection effects as well. So that idea is you're going to be using Timaeus, Magician's Souls, and then the 1-card Illusion combo, which basically comes off the back of your Cornfield Snake, or Cornfield Kotal, technically, and into your Mirror Sword Knight. Which I'll explain that a little bit later on. Yes, it is technically like a 3-card engine or a 3-card combo, but the idea is you've got 5 routes to your Illusion engine to get you started. You've then got 5, technically 7 routes to get to a Magician's Soul, or you've got 5 routes to get to your Timaeus, because what you've got to remember is Preparation leads you into Illusion, Illusion can then lead you into Magician's Souls or Timaeus. So you've got a bit of both on that one. We are playing the 1 Magician Rod, and the reason that we're only playing 1 in this one is because this isn't our main normal summon of the deck. The best thing Magician Rod can search us is going to be Soul Servant, and even then, you still need to have a Dark Magician in the graveyard set up to get the maximum value out of Servant. Yes, it's great stacking the deck and all, but if you don't have a Dark Magician in grave or field, you're not going to get that draw of what you stacked until your next turn, so you might as well just set it for during your opponent's turn. So the only other things that Rod is going to search you out is a Secrets of Dark Magic, which can be very important. This is probably like the most important one, in my opinion, that Magician's Rod can get you to, because this can lead you into more fusion plays. It can also lead you into a Dragoon if you have access to Dark Magician or a Dragon monster as well. Dark Magical Circle, and then an Eternal Soul. All of these are a little bit specific. Like Circle, you don't absolutely have to play anymore, you can completely cut it. I still like the nostalgia of playing Circle in the deck, but I understand why a lot of people would cut it as well. The idea is that if you set up with Circle, Eternal Soul, and you can constantly loop back Dark Magician, you're adding to your end board when you only need to deal with 5 cards from your opponent's first hand, because you've already ripped 1 as well. One of those cards will be negated off of the back of Dragoon, unless it's a Dark Ruler No More. And if it's a Dark Ruler No More, you still have your Chimera Fusion to get you into a Guardian Chimera to pop 2 and draw cards. You've got your natural hand tracks you're playing already, and if you've got the Eternal Soul Circle combo, you're getting an additional banish as well. So you're basically just chipping away at your opponent's resource. Eternal Soul is obviously a blessing and a curse with this deck as well, for the pure fact that if it does get destroyed, the only card that will stay on your board will be Dragoon, so all of your Chimera plays will go as well. Speaking of the Chimera or the Illusions, we are playing triple Kotal and we are playing 2 Mirror Sword. Now you could play 3 Mirror Sword if you wanted to, but I actually want these to be the least represented because I'd much rather open up the Cornfield, discard the Cornfield to search out the Mirror Sword Knight. Now again, I know and fully understand that this is a risk with Droll running around. If Droll is constantly a massive feature at your local environment, then you probably want to just hard open the Mirror Sword. So when it tags out for either Gazelle or Big Winged, the search off of either of those is going to pretty much then put you in Droll territory. I am only playing the 1 Big Winged and the 1 Gazelle. I'm trying to keep the engine to a bit of a minimum. Like I've kind of cut the edges where at all I can possibly can, which is why we're only playing the 1 Chimera. Because the idea is you're going to want to recycle your Chimera. You're going to want to use Big Wing to get you to your Gazelle and your Chimera straight away, setting you up with a 1-card fusion play. Because the idea is that Kotal goes to the graveyard, search out Mirror Sword normal summon, tag itself out, going to Big Winged. Big Wing search you out Gazelle and then Chimera fusion. So because you've got the Gazelle in the hand and you've got the Chimera Fusion, you can activate the Chimera Fusion, fuse Big Winged and Gazelle, gets you into your Chimera, the King of the Phantom Beasts. This will then of course trigger off the Gazelle effect and the Big Winged effect, and you can recycle the fusion. So you loop back all of the resources where at all possible, and you're pretty much setting yourself up for everything you need to. So that's pretty much why I've kept the engine at a base minimum, just to kind of see what else we can get around to and what else we can kind of do with the deck. I still really do enjoy it, and I think it does have some really kind of cool aspects that a lot of people don't really see happening. Now I know it's a little bit odd with it being Dark Magician, and there are other variants out there that are a little bit more consistent, and of course when Dark Magician naturally already have the branded engine as well, you kind of ask yourself, well, what's going to be better, the branded engine or the Illusion engine? And the reason I prefer the Illusion engine right now is because 1, it's a little bit different, but 2, it's also a new engine, so it's always going to get a bit more future support, whereas I feel branded's kind of come to the end of the support it's going to be provided. Then for the other cards that are not related to either the Illusions or Dark Magicians, I am playing 3 Bestials, so 2 Magnamoots and the 1 Druid Swarm. This is just really kind of cool offensive option, and if you go turn 0, your Magnamoot can then rip 1 card from your opponent's graveyard, summon itself down, and then search you out your Tomias Dragon in the end phase, which is really, really important, because then straight away you're a step ahead of the combat you're trying to complete, and that's going to be able to bait out a lot of cards when you're trying to go through the Chimera Fusion route, and then you follow up by going into a Dragoon, and the Dragoon, because it's been used using Dark Magician, is going to get at least 1 pop and burn, and then of course you're going to have your follow-up of your Dragoon being able to attack, plus you'll have a Magnamoot that can attack, and you'll also have the Chimera that can attack as well. We're also playing triple Fenrir. Now, the reason that this is actually quite good in the deck, alongside 1 Pressured Planet, is for the pure fact that Pressured Planet will boost everything, which is really, really nice. But the reason that Fenrir is so good is it's such a great card going second or first. Ideally going first, you're going to summon it down, it's going to search out another copy of itself, and then you've got free fodder in your hand when you go and try and make the Chimera Fusion play to get you into Guardian Chimera. Going second, it's a great way of being able to special summon a monster down, deal with floodgates, be a very threatening presence on the board as well. And if you really, really wanted to, just getting this and the Magician's Souls gives you access to a rank 7 play. Should you need to play around something like Skill Drain, you can very easily special summon down Fenrir, Magician's Souls, special summon back Dark Magician, overlay into the Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack. Draco Sack can then pop itself and then deal with that Skill Drain as well, unlocking the rest of the board. As long as you clear your rest of the board off, you could technically, if you open up 2 Fenrirs, special summon another one down, search out the 3rd one, and you'll still be able to build your play all from 2 cards. These ones are all flexible, so the Fenrirs are flexible. I'm playing Forbidden Droplet alongside 2 Triple Tactics Frost, and the reason I've gone with these is I wanted some board breaking cards. Now, if you wanted to play more hand traps, of course, these can very easily be Imperms, they can very easily be Ash Blossoms, but for the Triple Tactics Frost, the targets that I went for was a Dark Ruler, a Triple Tactic, Talents, and an Evenly Matched. So I've got my balance of going second cards off of the back of Triple Tactics, just being able to go, okay, cool, either of these can lead me to either of those. And when I get into the side deck, it can very easily get me to something a bit more control-based, like Eradicator, if I wanted to. The Droplet is just in there because it's one of the ones that I can use going first or second. Like if I'm going first and I see Droplet and I see Dark Ruler, obviously Droplet is going to be so much more better for me, especially if my remainder of my hand is a route to my 3-card combo, or like even the 1-card Chimera combo is enough. Because then I can also Droplet my opponent, and then if they're still able to build a board and break it, I've got Dark Ruler on the crackback, and you've got to remember as well that the Chimera has a very nice graveyard recycle play as well. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. So like I said, what makes this deck quite nice, and just going back over some previous videos that I've shown you in regards to like ratios, is when you kind of look at the like go second cards that I've got here. So this is like your 10 card hand trap engine. So like you can very easily take any of these 8 cards out, and you're like, right, okay, I want to play 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Imperm, and then I want to play 2 Ghost Spell. You've then got the alternative options for your Kashtira package, and then you've got your alternative engines for your Magdamoos. So for example, if your locals does not play a load of dark monsters, then you can very easily take those out, and you can put in 3 Super Poly instead. If your opponent is building boards that instantly lose to something like a Book of Eclipse, so if they're playing Kashtiras non-stop, and a Book of Eclipse is going to be more beneficial for you in the main deck than the side deck, then you can very easily main that as well. So moving on to the extra deck, we are playing 1 Chimera, the King of the Phantom Beast, alongside 1 the Illusion Beast, and 1 Guardian Chimera. So obviously all of these have their benefits. Chimera, the King of the Phantom Beast, is one you want to go into first. This is going to rip one from your opponent's hand and give you some resource back from the graveyard. The Aggressor is your Illusion Beast, just because it will allow you to pretty much pick your opponent's board apart. You're probably going to make it more times than not with the Chimera, the King of the Phantom Beast, plus the 1 Illusion Monster. You might be able to make it with 2 Illusion Monsters if you want to, but usually when you've got the option of being able to make a free material monster, you're going to want to go for your Guardian Chimera, just because it gives you that draw and that pop. The Illusion gives you that ability of just being able to clear off boss monsters when you need to. For the other fusions, we've got Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. I've got the Garura, Wing of Resonant Life, and Mud Dragon, alongside a Predaplant Dracus Depelia. So obviously all of these are super body targets, but they're also targets you can make off of the Chimera fusion. So Dracus Depelia one can be done as well. 2 monsters with the same type and attribute, but different names, very easily done in the Dark Magician deck, because you can get basically Souls and Dark Magician, Rod and Dark Magician, Rod and Souls, you name it. Mud Dragon, 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types, very easily done in this deck as well, because Big Winged is actually a Dark Fiend, and then of course Dark Magician and Souls and Rod are all Dark Spellcasters. So you can technically naturally make these in your build. You don't want to be doing that. You ideally want to only naturally make Dracus Depelia. These 2 are more so Super Poly targets. But if you do put Super Poly into your side deck, then these are great options for you as well. And if you need to, you can also put in the one that deals with the Warrior and Dragon for the Manadium end board as well. For the Link monsters, you've got the 1 Umdart, the 1 IP, the 1 Dart, the Dark Charmer, Selene, Avramax, and Access Code. Now, before everyone's like, why have you got IP but you haven't really got a target to go into it? Ideally, you want to go IP into Avramax, and then Avramax is just an insanely annoying card for your opponent to try and deal with. You don't have to. This is why the flexibility comes with this deck, is you can play around with it as you see fit. The only one that I would advise you to be playing is Umdart, Selene, and then Access Code. The idea is that you can go into Dark as well. Dark would then bring back, lets you go into Selene. Selene then brings back Dark Magician. You turn Dark Magician into Umdarks. You then use Umdark plus Selene, can either go into Avramax or mainly Access Code. And then Access Code is going to have a Dark, a Light, and a Wind in the graveyard. So you're going to get 3 pops, plus you're going to get an additional 3k stack on the top of your Access Code. Now again, it comes down to personal preference. You can completely change it around if you want to. Some people might not want to play the Super Poly targets, absolutely fine. Some people might not want to play IP of Mekk-Knight. You've also got options for playing Appaloosa, and of course you've also got options for playing the Underworld Goddess as well. Now, one thing you need to remember is if you do go through like Chimera Fusion play, you will lock yourself out of links the second you activate the big winged effect. So it's one of the ones where if you feel you're going to link someone after, then don't play big winged, go for Gazelle instead and just search you out the 1 Chimera Fusion, which is absolutely fine if you've already opened up an illusion monster. So 9 times out of 10, when you're going to go into your link plays, it's all going to come off the back of something like a Magician's Souls, and then you're going to want to build up from there. So Souls can then use any of the illusion monsters apart from the big winged if it's used this effect, and can start to link climb into Dark. Dark can then get you to Selene, and so on and so forth. So this is mainly going to be a crackback version. So you're going to go turn 1, you're going to want to try and get into your fusion plays. Turn 2, you're going to want to get into your link plays to OTK and finish the game off. At the very least, you kind of want to try and get into IP and then go through your Chimera plays, because Chimera or IP can technically use the Chimera Griffin, wherever he may be. Where are you? There we go. Can technically use the Chimera King in order to get into Avramax, because as long as you then use another monster special summon from the extra deck, you can get into a near enough indestructible Avramax. The last 2 cards we were playing are 2 rank 7 monsters. You've got Big Eye and you've got Phantom Beast Draco Sack. So I've already explained Draco Sack. This is to deal with skill drain. And then Big Eye is just one of the ones where you can steal your opponent's monsters when they're not expecting it. You could very easily go down a Kashtira route if you wanted to with Shangri-La and a Rise Heart. You could very easily add a Zeus in as well. That's where the flexibility comes. So you've got your super poly targets, get them out, change them up. That's what's really, really kind of cool about this version of the deck, is you do have a lot of flexibility. Like, it doesn't need to just be 15 fusion monsters. It can be a mix of fusion, XYZ. Heck, if you can find the right tuner for this deck, you could even get a synchro. And that is pretty much it for the build. Like I said, this is quite experimental at the moment. I've done 2 versions of this. The first one involved the Dogmaticas, so you could cheat out your Dragoon a little bit more and a little bit consistently, and still provide you with a Shadow lock if you wanted to. This build is going a little bit more streamlined, where it has a balance of Dark Magicians, illusion cards, and then you've got your hand traps and your board breakers. So it's a bit more varied or ranged locals prepared, in my opinion, just because you have that ability for your go second cards and your go first cards. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said at the start of the video, if you want to see a test and combo video of this profile, then make sure you smash that like button. Getting the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours will unlock that for you. Any questions at all, down in the comments below, more than happy to answer them. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.